Thank you so much for coming out. This is just another way that we look to support you. My name is Maricel Herrera, and it really is a pleasure to welcome you today to this wonderful event. I promise you that the next hour will have long been worth your wait in terms of this presentation. A little bit about the First State Success Center. For those of you who are not familiar, our goal is to ensure that you get to where you want to go in terms of your goals, to help you succeed, whether you're a freshman, sophomore, or transfer student, and to do so in a very personalized way using peer coaches, many of whom are here tonight to assist you as well. We want to make sure that you know that today is not about presentation diff by PowerPoint. This is really about a conversation. This is about an interaction. And this is really about you walking away with some tangible tools to help you succeed. And we could not be more excited to kick off this event with a student who is not only a graduate of ASU as an undergraduate, who served as a coach in our coaching center several years ago, who's gone on to graduate and do so many things. But her credentials, which you'll learn more about, really they're amazing, and I think you're going to find even her character and her persona even more amazing. So before we give Mona Dixon the mic, I just wanted to let you know that this is our kickoff Student Success Series speaker. This is our first one of 3 speakers this semester, and we invite you to come to each and every one of them. I tell you that by the end of this experience, you're going to be like unstoppable in terms of the tips that you'll get. We have an incredible lineup, starting with Mona Dixon as a former ASU student coach and alum, a 2-time alum. Next month, we have Valerie Burton, who's internationally known life coach, appears on CNN, Dr. Oz, Today Show regularly. She'll be here next month. And then the following month, our very own women's golf coach, national champion, Coach Missy Farkay, and she'll be talking on glory and grit. So this is really a series. We hope you come and you bring your friends. There'll always be food and goodies and raffle items, so we'd like to love on you as well. And if you haven't made an appointment, we want to really encourage you today, before you leave, you can actually make an appointment, so you leave here with somebody to help you take all this inspiration and motivation and put a plan of action into place for yourself. So again, thank you so much for coming out tonight. And with that, I want to just really introduce, really a great honor to introduce a young woman that I've gotten to know very well over many years, that I've had the honor of mentoring and being really blessed by knowing her. Her story is absolutely remarkable, and I think in addition to being remarkable, her humility is even more amazing. So I want you to give VIP celebrity style welcome, okay, like if Kanye walked into the building. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. VIP welcome to one of your own ASU Sun Devil success stories, Mona Dixon.
One day I will be as big as Kanye, though, believe it. Hello, everyone. Oh, that was boring. You could do a lot better than that. Hello, everyone. There we go. Well, it's a pleasure and an honor for me to be in front of you guys today, and especially in my home. I speak all over the country, but it's definitely very humbling to be able to come back here and speak to other ASU Sun Devils. So today I just want to talk to you and share a lot about my story of where I come from and where I am today, in hopes to inspire you to dream bigger, to be bigger, and to just go after your dreams no matter what they are. So it all started when my mom, she actually had my sister at 16 years old and my brother at 17 years old, and then she had actually me at 17 years old, and then my brother not too longer at about 23 years old. So she had 3 kids at a very young age, and we actually started out homeless on the streets. And I always talk about how it was very hard, and we would go into dumpsters and we would actually pull out cardboard boxes and sleep on them. And then in order to make myself feel safe in that type of situation, I would go inside of my backpack and I would pull out these Ziploc baggies full of school books, and I would read them. And I would imagine myself as a character in there, because it made me feel good. It made me feel happy in that type of situation. And there were other times where we would be able to stay at a boarding home. And this is a kind of like a place with a whole bunch of rooms in it, and this guy rents it out. And my mom, she didn't have very much money, so she would do work around the house, and he would let us stay there. But then say someone came and knocked on the door at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and they needed somewhere to stay, he kicked us out on the streets, and my mom would just wake us up, grab our jackets, and we would go find somewhere to stay because they had the money to live there and we didn't have that money to live there. And a lot of my background is those are just circumstances. So we all have circumstances. Do we agree with that? Does everybody have circumstances, right? Raise your hand if you're a first-time generation student here today. All right, so majority of you are. I was too. And I remember filling out my FAFSA for the first time, and my mom only made $4,000 for the whole entire year. And I was like, well, I'm not going to college kind of thing. But that's not what stopped me from getting here, obviously. So we're going to always have circumstances. And circumstances is easy to use as an excuse to get to where you really could go. It's easier to say, oh, well, my mom was an alcoholic and she didn't take care of me. So with that being said, it's easy for me to fail a class because of what my mom did. It's easy for me to say I couldn't go out and get a job because of the circumstances or where I come from or what I look like, the color of my skin. So a lot of people use their circumstances as excuses to go further on in life. And this right here, what is that? A rearview mirror, right? So who drives? All right, what do you use a rearview mirror for? Somebody just say that. To see what's behind you, right? So a lot of people, this is living life, right? You got to go forward, right? But a lot of people look into this rearview mirror to see what's behind them all the time. Now, if you stare into a rearview mirror for too long, what's going to happen? You're going to crash. And a lot of people use what's behind them, and they just watch what's behind them, and they use it as excuses, and that's how they crash in the future. You have to kind of let go of those things that are behind you in order to move forward, in order to focus on what's ahead of you. And another thing is that it's okay to look behind you. You have to, right? You have to look behind you in order to go forward. But normally you look behind you in order to remain humble. Like, I like to know where I came from so I don't forget that when I go forward and I try to help people. And then you also look behind you just to see, like, where you come from. You want to know those types of things, but obviously remain humble and know what's around you, know your surroundings, always be safe, but definitely always look forward so you do not crash. Another thing that could happen when you look behind you, say you're driving and you look behind you and there's your exit, you miss that. And in real world terms, you miss opportunities because you're too worried about what's going on behind you in that path. So another thing that I learned is the way that you stay away from what's behind you is you stay focused on what's in front of you and what's that main thing that you're focusing on. For me, the main thing was school, because I knew that school was the only way for me to kind of get out of that cycle of homelessness with my mom. And it was, I know it sounds cliche, but it was a key to success for me, and it truly was. And so that way, you stay focused on the main thing. When you're focused on the main thing, it's a lot less easier for distractions to come into your life and kind of disturb you off the path. So one thing that I do that I definitely recommend for you guys is to plan the day before. Plan your day before that next day, because then when you get up that next day, you can focus on, like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. But if you don't have it planned out, someone's like, oh, you want to come party? You want to come do this? You want to come do this? And then you lose sight of what that main thing is, and that's how you get off track, and that's how obstacles can knock you all over the place. There was one time that I got to meet Dougie Fresh, and he told me a statement, and he said, the main thing is to always make sure that the main thing remains the main thing. So we're gonna repeat that, okay? And you know, he's like that beatboxer, so he has that going. So, all right, repeat after me. The main thing is to make sure that the main thing remains the main thing. All right, there we go. So I expect you to know that now. You can't use that as an excuse, like, I didn't know I was supposed to stay focused. Yes, you did, because Mona told you to. All right. So for me, once again, I said the main thing was for me to go to school. I needed to do that. And it was hard for me to do that because we didn't even have enough money to get on the trolley. So I came from San Diego before I moved here. So if you're not familiar with a trolley, it's similar to our light rail here. And every single day, me and my sister would have to get on the trolley, and then we'd trolley hop. So what that is we didn't have enough money. So we get on a trolley car, hope that we didn't see a security guard, and if we did, we jump off at a stop and get back on. And all me and my sister were trying to do was just try to get an education that we deserved just as well as the next person. But it was hard for us to do that. But I just had to stay focused. My mom always told us that no matter where we are, if we got to get ready in a gas station bathroom, wherever we are, whatever we're going through, you're going to get to school. And she made that happen. Now, once I got to school, it was like, well, I mean, how did they think that I could focus on a hard math problem? How did they think I could focus on a hard vocabulary word when I was thinking about, well, where's my next meal coming from? Or if my family's okay? Or how about better yet, where am I going to sleep tonight? Like, what, you want me to focus on this, but I have bigger issues. And it was even harder for me when teachers would ask questions like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And all these kids would raise their hands and say what they wanted to be. But when the teacher asked me the question, and they looked at me, it was like, how could you possibly want to be something like that and you don't even have a place to stay? How could you possibly want to do something like that and you don't have two parents? You don't have food. How could you do that? How could you dream that big, right? But it was my mom who always taught me that it wasn't going to be my obstacles that were going to make me special. Like we talked about those circumstances. Everybody has circumstances. That's not going to make me stand out. That's not going to make me special. It's going to be the way that I overcome these obstacles that help me stand out and be unique and go further on in life. So that's when my mom decided to move to Arizona. And at first I was like, no, we're not moving there. It's like 130 degrees at 12 o'clock at night. We're not going to do that. But we did. And it was hard again because once again I have to meet new people. Once again I have to explain why my clothes are dirty or why my clothes are torn or things like that. I have to explain that again. But here at UMOM New Day Centers, I was able to have a place where everybody was just like me, and I didn't have to explain that to somebody again. And I had a place where I can go back and get 3 meals a day, right? And not have to worry about where that next meal was coming from, so I could focus on doing what I was supposed to do and what my main thing was, and that was going to school. So from there, my mom was able to actually get on Section 8 housing, and my first apartment, which so many people take for granted, actually happened to be right behind a Boys and Girls Club. And I walked in there one day. I used to be shy. I'm not shy anymore. I can talk to you for like 3 hours if you let me. But I walked into the Boys and Girls Club, and I said, what does it take for me to become a member here? And they said, well, you have to bring back this $20 membership fee, and you have to bring back this application. And I was like, okay, and I kind of like put my head down, and I was gonna walk out. I was gonna walk out because I didn't have $20. And $20 was gonna allow me to go there every single day after school. But I knew if I asked my mom for the $20, it would almost be disrespectful because I gave her one more thing that she couldn't give to me, even though she felt like I deserved that one thing. And there were so many things that she could spend that $20 on, right? She could buy toothpaste, she could buy toilet paper, she could do laundry, she could buy food. So I didn't want to go. And it was almost as if that lady knew that. And she said, wait, come back. And she told me, you know what, just bring back this form. And don't worry about the $20 and we'll take care of it. And I was like, okay. So I left and I did that. And I did. I came back and the Boys and Girls Club ended up being the best thing for me. And that lady changed my life with that $20. It finally provided me with like all the resources I needed to be successful in school, which was my main thing, right? And it also allowed me to feel safe and be a kid and get away from those adult-like responsibilities that I had to have at home. So from there, I was able to surround myself with people who would help lift up my aspirations, right? You have to have aspirations, you have to have goals, or else you just stay where you are. Or you end up fulfilling somebody else's goals and their dreams and everything like that, right? So you're not fulfilling your own because you're doing what they want you to do. So you set your own so that you can follow in that path and you can grow in that path. And for me, my aspiration, once again, was to go to college. Not only go to college, but graduate from college and then continue to learn and get more education. And then from there, I also wanted to be a Youth of the Year, which is like the highest. It's basically like in kid terms, we'll say, oh, I wanted to be the best kid that goes to the Boys and Girls Club. And I have a very competitive spirit, even though I'm really nice. I play basketball too, so, got that competitive thing going on. But anyways, I wanted to be the best kid going to the Boys and Girls Club, and I wanted to share my story on how the Boys and Girls Club impacted my life, and I wanted to help other people in doing that. And from there, I knew, okay, now I have these people. Now I have these people who support me. Now I have this place that helps lift up my, my aspirations and helps build my future and help me learn about character and community service and all these tools that I need to be successful. But I needed more. That wasn't going to help me get money for school. So I needed to learn how to do that. I needed to learn how to ask for help, which was something that I never done before. And a lot of us are afraid to ask for help, but that's not going to get you anywhere. So you have to be able to raise your hand and ask those important questions and really believe in that other cliche that there's no such thing as a dumb question unless you ask a dumb question. So you definitely want to be able to ask those questions so that you can get ahead, because that's what helps you. And you ask questions from people who've done it before. Don't ask it from people who haven't done it before, because a lot of people have opinions, right? That other saying that opinions are like assholes, everybody has one. So you want to stay away from those and actually seek counsel instead of seeking opinions from others, because opinions can knock you off your path, and opinions can make you not want to go for that dream because your friend was like, I don't think you could do that, or I tried that and it didn't work. So now you automatically think that didn't work. So you want to stay away from that. Once again, seek counsel and not opinions from other people. So from there, I was like, okay, well, how am I going to get to college? How am I going to get this money or this shmoney, like, Cardi B says? So how am I going to get this so that I can go to school, right? Okay, so I'm going to make myself become the most well-rounded individual that I can become so that I can go after these scholarships. So people see that I am willing to help myself and they want to help me too. So what did I do? Like I said, played basketball. Look at us in the locker room taking pictures when we're supposed to be getting ready. But and then I joined everything: National Honor Society, math team, like meditation club before class. I just wanted to pad my resume up, like let's get it. And sure enough, I did, and I ended up graduating from Tempe High School right down the street, third in my high school class. And then from there, I was able to become the National Youth of the Year for Boys and Girls Clubs of America. And what that was the best kid at the club, like I said that I wanted to be. No, but really, it just gave me the opportunity to travel and share my story and inspire people and give back and help those other little boys and girls from Arizona see that they too can achieve a lot of things despite their obstacles. So does anybody recognize anyone in that picture up there? Denzel, Shaq, Mario, Magic, J-Lo. Yep, Smokey Robinson. And who's that? Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So I have all these individuals. They actually all came from the Boys and Girls Club. And this is a commercial which you'll be able to see. They'll send it out to you later. But this is a PSA that basically shows all these kids from all walks of life walking into a Boys and Girls Club and then coming out and being transformed into an actor, into an attorney general, into a singer, into a basketball player, into Mona, whoever I'm going to be, but into all these different individuals. So I was blessed to be a part of that and keep going and sharing my story. So this is my good friend right here, Mr. Denzel. You saw everybody who was in that room, right? So everybody, all these celebrities, all these legends, everybody. And I like to tell this story that, like, when I was there, no one knew who I was. Like I said, if you would have saw that picture before you knew me, you'd have been like, who is that right there? So Denzel comes into this room and he goes, Mona! And I'm like, oh my God. So he just came straight up to me and he gave me that hug, and that's where that picture is from. And I just love seeing that, obviously, and sharing that with other individuals. And then that over there is Mario and J-Lo, and that's when she was brought on as the co-spokesperson for Boys and Girls Clubs of America, which marked about the 20th anniversary of a boys club, including women, and allowing us to go. The real reason they brought us is because when they started bringing us, more guys would come to the club, so they were like, okay, now we have a boys and a girls club. So from there, who's this right here? The tall one over here. LeBron James. All right, so I had the opportunity to meet him through speaking, and that was pretty cool. And he got up there, and before he was doing what he was supposed to do, he said, I just want to take a moment to talk about this young lady and how she inspires me to be a better person, a better father, and better friend. And if you see that speech, you'll be proud because he talked about the Sun Devils in there, so go Devils. And from there, also Cuba Gooding Jr. So that day at the shoot, I was able to interview all of these different individuals. And he was my favorite person to interview because he actually used to be homeless as well. And not a lot of people know that. But he never lived on the streets, but his mom would get enough money and they would bounce from hotel room to hotel room to hotel room. So that inspired me in talking to him. All right, so I'm getting winded up here. This is going to be a long title right here. So when I was 18 years old, I was named by Essence Magazine to be one of 28 most influential African-American women in America. And thank you. And that picture right there, it was a 6-hour photo shoot for that right there. They flew me all the way out to New York City, had me modeling, thinking I was doing something, and then there I was right there. I think I just did something. Let's see. But you can still see that, right? All right. Okay, so yeah, so then that picture came out right there. And then obviously I always got to include my good friend Denzel Washington over there. And then at the bottom right here was another opportunity, and that was with Mark Wahlberg, where we did a commercial on how to help raise money for kids to help them graduate from high school. So who's gone to Taco Bell before? Don't be ashamed. That's how I got my freshman 18, you guys. You know what I mean? So anyways, that Taco Bell right over there on Rural and Apache across the street. But anyways, I went there. And so if you've ever played in those machines where you drop a quarter in and you like hope to get a taco because you're a broke college student, so you're trying to get that. But anyways, when you go there, you're actually giving money to help kids graduate from high school. So keep playing that little game. But yeah, I got to do that commercial, and once again, they'll send that out to you so that you can see that, which was a pretty cool experience. Who's that? Yeah, so so when I was 17 years old, after being National Youth of the Year, I had the opportunity of going and meeting with our president at that time, Barack Obama. So that was a very cool experience for me. I mean, I couldn't say anything. I just was like smiling and just cheesing the whole time. And one of the biggest questions people probably ask all the time is what did you say to him? What did you say? And I'm like, nothing. Just because I couldn't fix my words. You know, just 4 years before that, I was homeless. I was living in a shelter. I had dirty clothes. I had all this stuff. I didn't know what to say to the president of the United States, so I was just cheesing there, just cheesing. But yeah, it was definitely a great experience. And Denzel was like, "There's your National Youth of the Year right there," and he was like, "Oh, is that right?" And he came and stood like right in front of me, and I'm just like. So anyways, that was definitely an experience. And it didn't stop there, because a couple of years later, he actually appointed me to be the youth board member for the Corporation for National and Community Service. So that's if you're familiar with programs like Senior Corps, AmeriCorps, programs like that. I was on the board, and I would go to DC about 3 to 4 times a year to help make the world a better place through community service. So that was a great opportunity for me to do. And so in doing that, I learned one of my talents. And one of my talents was to speak and to inspire. And I love to talk, so why not add that together and get to travel and do that. And I've always learned that with my talent, I should always give back to other people. And that's why I love to travel around and talk to youth and talk to young adults and even talk to adults, because it's never too late to start dreaming. It's never too late to learn that you can make anything happen, or you can get back on the right path. And that's what my talent was. And I came to ASU to help develop that talent. At first, I wanted to be in supply chain management, but that's a tough program here at ASU. And also, I wanted to be a purchasing manager. Why? So I could travel and shop like a girl wanted to do. So I was like, oh, that's what I'm gonna do. But then I was like, no, Mona, no. Like, your main purpose in life is to be able to inspire people and to travel and speak and help those little boys and girls see the world and see bigger than what their backyard or their city or their state. See national, see global, and just be bigger than what maybe somebody told them they could be. So I did go to ASU, so that's me at Barrett Honors College up there, and I got my bachelor's in business management. And then I went on to get more education, and I got my master's in communication studies, again, so that I could learn how to talk to people even more than I already do. And then from there, I decided I need to get more education. And one of those things is, I did an interview with Denzel Washington one time, and he asked me, he said, "Why aren't you in the interview?" And I was sitting off to the side, and I said, "Well, I don't know." And he was like, "Well, this is about the youth, and she's the National Youth of the Year, so why isn't she in there?" And then the news people were like, "Well, we don't know, it's live." And he was like, "Well, you better get the scrambling then." So all these people start pulling together these seats and everything, and I sit down, and I'm just like so nervous. We're about to do 3 live back-to-back interviews. And one question that he asked me, and just relating the question because I didn't have any earpieces, he said, "Well, what do you say to those people who think that they can just, drop out of high school or just play basketball and then they don't have to go to college or any of those things?" And I said, "Well, if you play basketball and you break your leg, what's the rebound after that?" No pun intended, but pun intended. And then so he said, "Oh, that's a good answer." And I said, "But if you have an education, can't nobody take that from you." And then my head going all, like that. And then I'm like, "Oh, shoot, that's a double negative." And I just said it on national television. But anyways, I really believe in that if I ever became homeless again, or if a natural disaster came, or someone took my house, or someone took everything that I have, one thing that they cannot take from me is the knowledge that I've acquired. They can't take my power away. They can't take my determination away. They can't take how resilient I am away. They can't take these things away from me. And that is what allows me to bounce back. That's what allows me to keep going, even though I got a C on a test and I think it was the teacher's fault. But it allowed me to keep going. It allowed me to push through and be like, you know what, it's okay. Next time I'm going to do better. So that's what people can't take away from you. So you have to learn, how can I, do better? How can I go to these coaches and learn how to do better on that test, or how to get past my roommate being mean to me, or, just different things like that. How can I get past that? Because it's only temporary. And there's a quote, I think it's at the bottom of your paper. Can somebody stand up and read that? Who's brave in here?
One of the most common causes of failure is quitting when one is overtaken by temporary.
Can you read it one more time?
One of the most common causes of failure is quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat.
So all these things that have happened to you in life thus far, did they stop you from getting to ASU? No, right? Are they going to stop you from getting to the next step? No, and some people, it did stop them from getting here. It did stop them from getting to the next step. But that's not what stopped you. And that's the same mindset that you have to get to the next step and to keep going and going and going, and understand that this is only a temporary setback. But I'm going to learn from that. I'm going to look back in that rearview mirror just a little bit to not make the same mistake or let that same thing happen to me again. And then I'm going to use that to keep going forward in my path. And so this is the AT&T store that I actually used to stand outside of in San Diego, California, and ask people for spare change because I was hungry. And I like to say that if a sane person who probably just, walked right on past me, if that person was to predict my life story, they'd probably say, "Oh, she's going to end up a pregnant teenager," or "Oh, she's going to drop out of high school," or "Oh, better yet, she's probably going to end up homeless right back on the streets with her kids as well." But because of those internal things that I talked to you about, see it says smart with a C, right? I know you're all smart and you all go to college and you're like, that's not how you so smart. But you know what? Anything is possible in this world and I can do what I want. So there you go. See what is smart. So again, you're going to have circumstances and you're going to continue to have circumstances. It doesn't stop. I'm sorry to burst that bubble. It doesn't stop. You get past one and then life happens. I would cuss, but I think I did enough of that. But life happens and you're gonna keep going. Again, have your main thing, have your focus, keep going forward and stay, focused on the right thing. I know one of the biggest distractions are our cell phones, right? I mean, I'm guilty. There's times where every morning I wake up and the first thing I'm looking at is Facebook or who Snapchatted me or all these different types of things. And then I was like, Mona, Mona, you know what you're doing? You're looking at other people focus on their main thing. We're looking at Beyonce. What did she do? She focused on her main thing, her singing. Everyone's achieving their goals, and we're just sitting back watching them achieve their goals, but we're not working on our goals because we're watching them achieve their goals. So definitely I'm not going to tell you to quit cold turkey looking at your cell phone, because I'm not going to do that either, but I will say limit it a little bit and take some of that time to focus on your dream, to work on your dream. And then one day there's going to be people watching you go after your main thing, and then you just come back and inspire them like me and tell them to focus on their main thing and to not lose out on what their purpose is, to serve the world that's bigger than themselves. So definitely have your aspirations and be resourceful. Do not be afraid to ask for help. People love to help you. Marcel loves to help me. I love having her help me because she's better than me, and she knows a lot more than me, so I can learn that from her. So again, seek counsel and not opinions from people. And definitely discover your talents and do what you love, and then serve the world with that talent. So again, this is my story, and I'm very thankful to be able to be back here again to talk to you all, and in hopes that I inspired you all today to just keep going, to keep pushing, to strive bigger, to go after those goals that you might have thought were not possible, but now you see that they are possible. So thank you again. Thank you. Oh yeah, we can do questions.
If anybody wants to ask any questions of Mona, I think that she gave us a lot to think about. I know you've inspired me many times, including today. But if there's any questions, this is really the time to ask them. This is a safe place to ask those things, and there is no such thing as a dumb question. And you have a room full of coaches who are willing to help support you in that. So are there any questions about how her path or some of her experiences at ASU? Mona did tell you that she's halfway through her doctoral degree, but she's not 25 years old yet. Very shortly, she will be Dr. Dixon.
Yes.
So there's so many other things, involvements, scholarships, things that she did at the university that you can feel free to ask about.
Go ahead.
Hey, Mona, first of all, thank you for coming in today. And the question I had was, what do you wish you knew at my stage in life? I'm an ASU freshman, just anything in general.
You said, what do you wish you knew at my stage in life?
As a freshman, what did you wish you knew?
Oh, what did I wish that I knew in that stage? I would say, I wish that I knew, and this is a quote because I live life in quotes because I believe them from people who are, I seek counsel. So anyways, I wish that I knew that the average of the 5 people you hang out with, you're going to be the 5th. So anyways, this is true. So you just say, if you hang out with 4 people, right, that are broke, look to your neighbor and say, you're going to be the 5th. Exactly, because if they're broke, and not just money, right? Not just money, but their mindset, how they think. If they think broke, if they think I can't achieve this, or I can't do this or that. If you surround yourself with those people, that's how you're gonna think. So your buddy and all those things like that, it's cool to, say hi. It's cool to hang out, but don't let those people that you surround yourself with, and even if you don't hang out with 5 people, the music you listen to or the stuff that you read, all those things, those all contribute to those 5 things or people that you feed in and that you surround yourself with. So I learned that, I didn't necessarily get in trouble, but there were times that I would get close to being in trouble because somebody else was in trouble. And those types of things I wish that I knew so that I could stay focused and not, have to worry about their problems and things like that, so that I can stay focused on what I wanted to do and keep going forward. You're welcome.
At the hardest points in your life, what motivated you to move forward?
The main thing. So and really honestly, I just knew that I had to get to college. That was my thing. I had to get there. And anything that wasn't college like, or wasn't gonna help me get there. No, I can't do that. I know it'd be a lot to ask, but in college, I didn't go out much. I sacrificed a lot, not only because stuff was hard at Barrett, but also because I just knew that that wasn't gonna be my main thing. That club on Mill Avenue is gonna be there now when I'm 25 years old. It's still there, same people, still there, every weekend, still there, right? So like all that stuff is it's still there, you know? So I just was able to stay focused and on that, you know, on that main thing. And that's what kept me going. And obviously my family as well. I wanted to make my mom proud. I wanted her to see that she wasn't a failure. And in fact, she was a blessing and she was resourceful. And she helped keep me and my two siblings together. And she helped us, you know, survive. We survived and we're doing well. I'm doing well. My brother's a sophomore on the downtown campus. He's doing well. And my sister's in school at Mesa Community College. So we're all going forward. And I just wanted to show her you know, the thanks and the gratitude and the appreciation I have for her and keeping us together and raising me when she could have just let me go, but she didn't. She kept me, and I wanted to show her that she did a good job raising me. She couldn't give me allowance. She couldn't give me, you know, rewards for getting straight A's, but she gave me my life, and for that I'm forever grateful, and I just wanted to make her the most proud mom that I could. Yes.
How hard was it to like find people who had like shared similar interests of you, like being futuristic, like finding the right like people? How hard was it for you?
It's hard. It's hard to find people who think like that. It's hard to find people who think positive all the time and don't let them like things just knock them off the path, right? But find people, see people who are doing things that you want to do and go try to be friends with them and go try to hang out with them and everything like that. Obviously, I mean, people like to, the number one thing people like to talk about is what? Themselves. So you go and you just listen, shut up and just listen. Just let them talk. They're going to tell you how they did it, you know, when they turn left, when they turn right. They're going to give you all of the expertise. And those are the people who you want to surround yourself with. But it is hard. But you already started because there's so many first generation college students already right here. So they've had obstacles. That's an obstacle. And they got here. So that's a good start. And then some people do, unfortunately, fall off in college and things like that. But then you got to be that person to help other people. And you're going to, you are what you know, attract. And then you're going to attract what you are and all that type of stuff. So definitely be positive, and positive people are going to want to come to you.
How do you respond to missed opportunities?
I have this philosophy that I kind of tell myself that, like, if I didn't do something or something didn't happen to me, then it wasn't for me and it was for the next person. So I don't kind of think of things as missed opportunities. Like, for instance, one time I went for Fiesta Bowl, like Queen and Court, right? And it was like 4 or 5 people. I forget how many people. So I made it to like top 8 or top 10 or something. And a lady came up to me afterwards and she was like, next year, you know, I can help you and we could do your hair like this and we could do this like this. I'm like, what? If I can't be myself, then this is not for me and something else is for me. So I just kind of have that mindset that if something doesn't happen, then as long as I gave my best and I know that I gave my best, then that's all I can ask of myself. And then I'm like, that wasn't good enough for them, but it's going to be good enough for something else. So, I mean, that's what I think about when, you know, missed opportunities happen or things like that. And I just find the next best thing or the thing that was meant for me to have. Did that answer that question? All right.
What's your advice for public speaking?
Okay, so I didn't start like this, and especially when they told me, like, you got to share your story. I'm like, what? You want me to tell people I was homeless and stuff? Like, not going to happen. Like, you know, I'm trying to move away from there, not go back and tell people. But one thing that I did was I kept talking to myself and be like, what you have to say is important. What you have to say is important. What you have to say and what you have to say is important. And people need to hear that. People need to hear your story. People need to hear, like, what you've gone through so that maybe they can avoid that same path. But they need to hear that and just know that whatever you're saying, they need to hear. Even in the classroom, when you have that group project, they need to hear what you have to say because they're going to learn from you in that sense. But one thing that I did was I stood in front of a mirror. I don't know if people will tell you to do this, but I really did that. And then I paid attention to how my facial expressions were. I paid attention to, when I paused, when I sped up, all those types of things. And I actually was coached on speaking first. But then they just said, be yourself. Like, I've never gone to Toastmasters and things like that because they told me, like, Mona, you keep it, so real. You keep it, you're yourself. Like Marcel, before I came up here, she said, just be yourself. Just be yourself, then they're going to love you. And so with that, just be yourself and just have fun with it. And don't focus on, trying to read the right words and word for word and all that type of stuff. You're going to mess up. But how many of you knew exactly what I was going to say when I came here? Exactly. So you don't know. So when you're up here, they don't know. So they don't know when you mess up. They don't know those types of things. They don't know when you skip a whole paragraph or things like that. So just focus on being yourself and be prepared. You want to always be prepared when you're going to speak to people because people can tell when you're not prepared. So definitely be prepared. Focus, practice. Practice makes perfect, or perfect to you anyways. So definitely do that.
So I'm very curious, what advice would you give someone who is not understanding their own power and really don't have
So I feel like I was that same way. When people, so I was in Atlanta this past weekend, and this guy asked me could I come speak and everything like that, and I was like, how much what am I supposed to charge? Am I supposed to charge? Am I worth charging? Am I, all that type of stuff and all that? And my dad was like, just say, $250, just say that. It was 4 people, and I was like, for 4 people, Dad, that's a lot. And he was like, wanna just do it. So I did, and the guy was like, perfect. And I'm like, what? So you just don't know, you just don't know, and you can achieve anything. I'm on again, quotes and cliches and everything. If you can think it, if you can believe it, then you can achieve it. You just got to work hard. And on that paper, there's another thing where what is it? Is the formula for success there. So you have your passions, right? You have your talents, your associations, so those people that I told you to surround yourself with, or those places that lift up those aspirations, you have that. Then you have action, so you have to do some footwork and everything. Praying is not going to work. It didn't work for, what's his name? Stephen Curry when he was going against my LeBron James, you know what I mean? So no, that didn't work. It might have worked 2 out of the 3 times or whatever, but anyways, no, you have to act. You have to put in the work to win, to achieve those goals, and then also have faith and believe in yourself. And I'm telling you, I didn't think that these things were going to happen. I definitely didn't think that. If I would have told somebody that, I'm going to go see the president when I was living in the shelter, they would have been like, what? You crazy? You stupid. That's not going to happen. And that's why you don't seek opinions, because people will knock you right down. And it happens. And I didn't even know it was going to happen. But you surround yourself with positive people because they see things in you that you don't even see in yourself. So it's very, very good to surround yourself with people who believe in you, and it helps you believe in yourself.
Mona, can you speak to some of the involvements you had as a student, even the entrepreneurial stuff that you did, maybe some of the organizations or internships, those kinds of things?
Yeah, so I was definitely a part of STARS. So I think, if I remember correctly, it was students taking action to reach success. See, I'm always about success and stuff. But it was us helping the freshmen, helping everybody else come in, learn the things that we learned as well. So I was very blessed to be a part of that, and I love being a part of that. All my jobs were here. I actually worked upstairs as in Access ASU, and that was, we would go out and we would talk to K through 12 students and help them get to college. And definitely those kids who didn't think that they could go to college, we helped them get to the next step or believe in themselves. So I definitely love doing that. And doing that, I got to have incredible, bosses or supervisors or leaders, as I should say, because there's a difference between a leader and a boss. But leaders that believed in me and then helped me and gave me letters of recommendation and just helped me get to that next step. And then, of course, I was a first-year success coach, so especially go FYS, and then definitely go WP Carey team that I was on. But anyways, definitely that helped me. I was helping other people, but then I was helping myself. And then we got to go to trainings like this and learn from incredible leaders. Like I remember when Kevin, if you're familiar with Kevin at FYS, some of you not maybe, but Kevin was doing like his master's when I was there, and then he started like his doctoral degree, and then he was just going, and I was like, man, I want to be like Kevin. I'm gonna get going, so I was able to look at him as a leader. So just again, it gave me the opportunity to surround myself, so I did that. I loved Changemakers Central over there because I was able to, do community service and, again, impact the world and be able to give back. And then also, like, be a tutor and help other students be successful in school, and just to teach them that you don't got to go to tutoring when you have a D or F. You can go to tutoring when you have an A so that you can continue to have an A all along. And that's the same thing for coaching. People think I shouldn't go to coaching until I'm like doing bad and then they can help me. No, go to coaching now so that they can continue to coach you on the right path, and then so that you can continue to be successful. So don't wait until you're like way under to, seek help, because then it's harder. But if you go, then you can continue to learn and get better. So that's how I was involved with ASU.
So we know, Miss Mona, thank you so much for sharing your story. We are going to ask if you do the honor of reading the raffle number. We know you came here, Mona, but we also know raffles are important too. So we will have your ticket. Everybody get one? And we are, let me just model this for you also. While you're pulling that out, you also have received an assessment on your way in. So if you can fill that out and then drop it off at the table where you checked in, we would like to hear your thoughts from tonight's presentation. So, let's get to it. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you all ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Don't be mad at me, guys.
All right, do you want to read it?
Yes.
Okay.
So the last three numbers are 755.
You got it.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you, Mona, for such encouraging and authentic words. We invite you to come to coaching if you haven't. If you haven't made an appointment, you can still do so before you leave. And mark your calendars. The next VIP Student Success Series with Valerie Burton, International Life Coach. She's going to be talking about being brave enough to succeed. And I think Mona talked about the need to be courageous in your success. That's going to be on Thursday, February 22nd. At 6 p.m. in Neeb Hall. Get there early. We're expecting several hundred people in attendance. And there's more information. I believe you got a small flyer for that as well. Thank you again for coming out. Have a great evening.